What's going on, Dog Pound? Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here, hanging out with you guys a week before the NFL draft gets started. 8 days away from the Browns get started, right? Not until pick 74, although I do believe there will be some trades for the Browns in this upcoming draft. So we're going to recap all of the latest on your Cleveland Browns. We'll talk about the new secondary logo a little bit here, and then we're going to jump into all the draft trade rumors galore that is out there. But before we do, you guys know how I like to start the show. Get everyone watching involved. Let me know in the chat right now where you are tuning in from. Shout out your city. I'll be giving shout outs to every single one of you who lets me know where you are watching from. Browns fan called Zone, tuning in from Maryland behind enemy lines. Good to see it. Can we get some more F-Pits in the chat? We're going to address the underlying story right now, the Chat Sports news and rumors, if you will, between the Browns Report and Steelers Talk. But first things first, we got AFX Apocalypse tuning in from Patrick's house. What are you guys doing today? Celebrating the holiday? We've got Darren tuning in from Oakland, California. I'm sorry, man. I mean, to lose all three major sports teams in 10 years, that is brutal. Richmond, California. Warren, Ohio says F-Pit. Love it, Christopher. F-Pit's coming in all over the place. We got Campbell out in ATL. Mayfield Heights. Let's do this thing. Canton, Ohio. So Patrick Seatman is off today. You guys might not like the reason why he's off too. He's actually the New York Knicks producer. So boo Patrick as the Knicks take on the Cavs. So he got today off as him and Marshall Green get ready for their watch party for that game tomorrow. So we got the wonderful services of Matthew McCullough stepping in to help out today. So everyone give Matthew McCullough a round of applause. Otherwise, there would be no live show today. Columbus from Zachary Wolf. Good to see everyone here. Darren from Cleveland. So with that being said, do I really even have to make the BS cliche joke? What's everyone's favorite holiday? We know what today is. It might be your favorite holiday. It might be McCullough's holiday because he was looking a bit glossy-eyed before we started today's live show. Favorite holiday for me? I mean, I'm a good Patriot boy. 4th of July is always a classic in my book. Not been a big Halloween guy. If I'm going the opposite direction of some other people out there, like Christmas is just too easy. Your birthday's not a holiday. So Thanksgiving's always been high up on my list, and 4th of July's there too. Love a good Flag Day. I used to have an obsession with flags. When I moved in with my girlfriend, she said, no more flags on the walls. I've got 17 flags, believe it or not, in my dresser drawer just waiting to be put up in a man cave somewhere. So let's go. We got Veterans Day, Memorial Day, 4th of July, F-Pit coming in, Christmas. I love it. See, New Year's, I think, is actually super overrated. I mean, I'm kind of an old soul, but I just don't see the thrill in, like, waiting till midnight just for it to be another day. I've just never been a huge fan of New Year's. You will never see me in, like, in New York City for New Year's Day in Times Square. That is just not a spot I will ever be in. So while you guys get your favorite holiday in the chat right now, let me know this. Will the Browns make a draft trade? Give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Now, while you answer this question, McCullough, before we started the show, I forgot to ask this from you. Mute me for a second so they don't hear. I want it to be a surprise. Yep, go ahead. Okay. Sorry about that, everyone. So I got a bit of a surprise for you guys, and I forgot to get it all set up before we started the show. So we've got that in store for you. But will the Browns make a draft trade? Yes or no? I think they will. One, do the Browns even have 8 roster spots up for grabs from this rookie class? If they think they don't, then you might as well trade either forward or backwards, right? Get better players but fewer picks, or trade back and get more picks for next year. Because I just don't see them having 8 roster spots or even 8 competitive roster spots open. So if you're going to draft a 7th rounder just to potentially cut him, well, why even have that pick? Why not trade out of it, right? Everyone wants to trade. We always say it's super easy to trade. once the draft rolls around, GMs kind of get a good size of whether or not this is an easy draft to move up or down in. Trades are always possible, but if you don't think you have 8 roster spots open because you spent a lot in free agency and trades, then you might as well move out of some of those picks right there. No, just the 2 that say, you'll know the 2. They won't be cuts. Just look for the titles that jump out as something I would want in this show. One says boot, and then the other one will be, you found it? Okay. So as McCullough gets that ready, let me know. Browns fan called zone says that's true. Kelly Bale, I want to trade as many as 3 picks. I want to trade as many as 3 picks we don't get a pick back for. Okay. Why have 6th and 7th? If I was ever a GM in the NFL, I would never pick in round 7. Now, I'm sure a lot of GMs feel this way, but I don't know what I would do other than just always trade my 7th round pick away because it'll never amount to anything. Sorry, Julian Edelman, but I'm just never going to be in the business of just lighting a 7th round pick on fire, knowing it will never. Like, I would always just ask if I could trade my 7th and 6th to get earlier in the 6th round. Like, why would I not move up 15 spots in the 6th round than hold on to a meaningless 7th round pick? Did we add those stuff from they're in the Media One bucket? Yep. Those are the 2. Can you get the second one you just said there and preview and get that ready to roll across like it was a B-roll? Yep. So we are in the midst of a super chat battle with our with our Steelers channel here at Chat Sports. Now, last week they challenged us. It was not even close. It was an absolute demolishing. I mean, we kicked their ass and took no prisoners. So they retorted on their live show yesterday, and they were pretty harsh. Not that I wasn't, but they really came for the throat. Let's roll the clip.
Jeremy, how big of a clown is Matthew Peterson, man?
Probably the biggest clown in the office.
Yeah, I would say so.
I gotta say that.
I mean, he's a Browns fan. That's all you gotta know about him, man.
I just need to tell you all this. I'm going to be sick to my stomach if Petey wins this. If the Browns win this, a classless, shitty organization that rewards a predator in Deshaun Watson. F you, Petey. F you, Petey. F you, Petey.
Do you guys now finally really see and understand what I deal with every single day at this office? So I don't want to just beat the Steelers. I want to make sure the Steelers never get another minute of studio space here at Chat Sports. Now, we are in a super chat battle, and they put up a very good showing in Game 2. $731. That's going to take a long group effort to chip away at, but I believe in the dog pound to show up, get loud, and beat the shit out of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So if you hate the Steelers, or more importantly, if you want us to go live for the NFL draft, whoever wins this super chat battle is going to get some studio space during the draft next week to go live for it. So help me beat the Steelers in super chats. We beat them once already. Let's beat them a second time. And let's make sure they know who the real king of the AFC North is, because yes, they can bring up all the history they want. But that's all it is. History, old books, dust. I'm looking to the future, and I'm looking at the 4 quarterbacks in the AFC North right now, and one of them is leaps and bounds behind the other 3. So for that reason, I'm all in on the Browns. If you hate the Steelers, let's get them in super chats this week. Let's start having some fun on the show. We've got a fun super chat menu if we want to throw that on screen right now. So let's get the dog pound riled up, and let's beat the crap out of Steelers talk. Here is our super chat menu today. If it's your first time ever super chatting, I'm going to write you a letter. I love writing handwritten letters. I'll put some Browns trivia in there, some NFL trivia, whatever your heart desires. But first time super chatter, no matter the amount, a letter is coming your way. Hit me up on Twitter with an address, and I'll pop it in the mail. $10, we'll drink out of the dog bowl as always. $20, a big F-Pit chant thanks to you. $50, we got Browns player comps for all the MVPs. And if we get a $100 super chat, that's a Browns beer bong. Triple B, baby. Browns beer bong, okay? So that is our super chat menu today. Show up, get loud, and let's go Browns. So, oh! Oh, just like that, we got a $50 super chat. Here we go, Cleveland. Yes, let's go Browns. Let's set the tone early, and let's remind them who runs the AFC North now. We got Miguel Moran Valera, F. Pittsburgh. Let's go Browns, baby. I love it. That is a $50 super chat. That's got to be a dog bowl no matter what. And a bunch of F Pits. Everyone watching right now, spam F Pit in the chat right now for our new friend Miguel. Shout out to you. Thank you so much for the super chat. Listen, Miguel, for a $50 super, whatever you want, new letter, want a handwritten letter, the world is your oyster, my friend. Let's go Brownies. We are on the board like that, $50. We're going to update that super chat battle between ourselves and Steelers Talk as we get more and more super chats in, and we'll keep you guys posted on how far we have to go. But Miguel, if you want a Browns player comp, let me know which player you would like to get, and I'll get you a player comp for all future Cleveland Browns reports. We'll throw that on screen anytime you super chat moving forward. McCullough quickly moving on the ones and twos. Here's the standings right now. It's still very early in the game. Keep that in mind. We have not even gotten into the first segment of today's show. So we're already on the board thanks to Miguel's $50 super chat. Shout out to you, Miguel. Let's go Browns. Oh, Jay Fitch with a $2 super chat. Jay Fitch. McCullough, if you could put my Twitter L3 at the bottom, please, of this next one. We got a first-time super chatter. Here we go. $2 super chat coming in from Jay Fitch. Shout out to you, Jay. F the Squealers. Let's go Browns. Jay, first-time super chatter. The guy just pulled his bootstraps up and said, let's get to work. Let's beat the Squealers. Let's go Browns. Jay, hit me up on Twitter at Matthew Petey. I'll pop a letter in the mail, and we'll talk some Brownies. We'll talk draft. We'll talk trivia. We'll talk history. All my favorite subjects right there. Jay, thank you so much for the super chat. One more time, the super chat menu in case you are just tuning in and you're wondering what the heck is going on. It's an absolute onslaught right now between the Browns Report and the Steelers Talk channels here at Chat Sports, and we are trying to beat them in super chats, and whoever gets more super chats gets to go live for the NFL Draft, and I don't want to lose. I'm not in the business of losing. Far too many losses to the Pittsburgh Steelers in my lifetime. That ends now. This is a new era. And it honestly starts off the field as well. I know that might sound a bit corny, but I'm tired of seeing Steelers fans out in public and whatnot. And they're like, oh, you're a Browns guy? They see a Browns polo or a hat. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, man, we've had your number. And I just want to think, yep, but who's got your number moving forward? Because there's a changing of the guard coming. We got some super chats coming in. Let's go. Let's go Brownies. Come on. Let's beat the shit out of the Steelers. Come on. Let's do this thing. Ryan Chowdhury, you like the new profile picture? I can't really see it. Oh, we got Deshaun Watson in the middle. I love it. I love it. Let's go, Ryan. We got Dr. Urok. The doc's in the house. The doctor is here. Doctor, thank you so much. Let's go Browns, baby. That was the doctor's first super chat as well. So, Doc, hit me up on Twitter. We'll throw that at the bottom of the screen with the next super chat here in just a moment. DM me your address, and we will get you a handwritten letter. Kelly Bale, dog bowl for the dogs. F Pitt, yes, from north of the border. What's going on, Kelly? Thank you so much. Let's go Browns, baby. Dog bowl for Kelly Bale. Woo! This is going to be a fun show. We got another $10 super chat coming in. McCullough right now, I don't know how to best describe it to you guys here, but he looks like an absolute wizard on the computer, getting all these super chats in. Darren Wilson, F the Steelers, first time super chatting. For Darren, first time super chatter? Come on, that's what I'm talking about. Let's go Browns. I am just sick and tired. I'm not going to do the full Herb Brooks speech because I almost did for a moment there. But just being, let's call it what it is, the little brother in the AFC North for the better part of 2 decades at this point. This is when the tide changes. This is the roster to do it. Nick Chubb, Deshaun Watson, Myles Garrett, Amari Cooper. I don't have enough fingers, honestly. The list goes on and on. This is it. Their time is done. It's over. I've rewatched Miracle like twice in the last week, and this is what happens. Updated numbers indeed. We're already at $76, so not a big math guy, but I think we're about 10% of the way there. Something like that, like 12% of the way there. That's what I love to see. Miguel and everyone else who chipped in, shout out to you. Let's go Browns. Let's beat Steelers talk. Let's start chipping away at it, my friends. Now, with that being said, we do have an actual show to get to, believe it or not. Here's what's on tap for today. We got the latest news and rumors. I'm going to go through a full 7-round mock draft, but I've got some trades in that mock draft, so stay tuned for that. Plus, 5 draft trade ideas, right? The possibility of the Browns trading for a player or trading a player away like they did last year with Troy Hill. We're going to look at 5 ideas I've got on that front, and then a live Q&A. Any questions you guys have, hashtag Browns, or you can super chat. So with that being said, let's jump into the latest news and rumors. What's going on, everyone? Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Matthew Peterson, and I'm psyched up about the NFL Draft being just a week away. Even if the Browns don't have a first-round draft pick, I think we can all agree it's not like they've had a tremendous amount of success drafting first-round players for the last 15 or so years. So, yeah, why not change things up a little bit and move back and get some proven talent? Now, before we get into the latest news and rumors, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and do so and join nearly 19,000 strong, And if you are subscribed, let me know how long you have been subscribed for. I always love to see how far people go back in terms of I subbed when we had 3K subs or 5K or 10K. So let me know how long you have been subscribed for if you're already subbed. Now, we have had some new subscribers join the channel recently, so I wanted to remind everyone about our Bernie heads here. A scale of believability. If I give a story or a rumor or a topic 0 Bernie heads, it's fake news, just sort of pushed to the side. 1 Bernie head, we got some small shreds of truth. 2 Bernie heads, people are talking, and so on and so forth. So with that, let's get into our first story on today's show. Are the Browns not going to pick up Jedrick Wills' 5th-year option? I'm actually going to give it 2 Bernie heads. If you asked me this question back in February, it's a 1 Bernie head. But I have added a 2nd Bernie head because we are approaching the deadline and Cleveland has not picked up the 5th-year option on Jed Wills, which is very different than how they operated last year, for example, with David Njoku's. Now, the Browns have not picked it up, like I said, at least yet. The deadline to do so is May 1st. So it is just over 10 days away, however many days there are in the month of April. Now, the 5th-year option cap hit, it's a fully guaranteed number, is $14.1 million. So I can see why the Browns might be thinking this over, because $14.1 million is sort of in that half glass full, half glass empty. It's a lot of money. But at the same time, compared to other NFL left tackle contracts, it's not a ton of money. So you can kind of make arguments on both sides. Has Jedrick Wills looked like a $14.1 million left tackle so far? No. I don't think anyone can really say that Jedrick Wills has looked like a guy deserving of $14.1 million. But on the other hand, is $14.1 million worth it to see if he can become a franchise left tackle? To that, I say yes, right? I think it is worth the investment to find out, hey, can we get another year of Jed Wills and see if he is not the next Joe Thomas. No one's going to be the next Joe Thomas. But can he be a guy who's going to hold down the left side of the offensive line for the next 5 or so years and keep Deshaun Watson clean? Jedrick Wills, through 3 seasons so far, these are his overall PFF grades. Now, years 1 and 2, he really battled that ankle injury that just never seemed to go away, especially in his 2nd season. But last year was relatively a clean bill of health. And he had some good moments, but I don't know what it is about Jed Wills. And maybe you guys, agree with this, but there feels like there's just way too many moments and plays where he's sort of got like Ricky Bobby Hand syndrome, where he doesn't quite know what to do once the guy beats him, And it's just an all-time bad visual. When Brissett or Watson's getting sacked and Jedrick Wills is like, you got me on that one. So now what could be an interesting comparison is the Atlanta Falcons drafted Caleb McGarry, a right tackle out of Washington in the first round back in 2019. He was objectively a bust coming out, right, in terms of early years in his career. These are his overall PFF grades. Not far off from Jedrick Wills, but not quite as good. And then Atlanta did not pick up his fifth-year option. And they regretted that because last year, he was one of the best tackles in football on the right side specifically. So all of a sudden, Atlanta looks back and goes, well, I wish we picked up that fifth-year option just to see one more year of this guy for relatively cheap. And if he's not him, then so be it. We move on, and we've had 5 years of consistent right tackle or in Cleveland's place left tackle spot. So the highest paid tackles in terms of the $15 million range, they're not even really cracking the top 15. Like 19 through 23, these are the top paid tackles in that $15 million range, which would be where Jedrick Wills is in. He would be just behind Jack Conklin and just in front of Deion Dawkins. So if you're here saying to your screen, no, he is not worth $14 million, I get that. Is Jedrick Wills comparable to these players? Is he a Joseph Noteboom? I don't see why not. So for an extra season, why not figure out if he could really be a top 10 or a top 15 left tackle? And if he blossoms next year because he puts 2 great years of clean bill of health together, you're going to really wish you had that fifth-year option picked up because then you're looking to extend him and give him a new contract, and you're going to be paying him way more than the fifth-year option of $14 million. So what say you? Should the Browns pick up his fifth-year option? Type P for pickup or D for decline. Let me know what you're thinking down below. Moving on to our second story today. Will the Browns trade for Khalil Mack? Should they trade for Khalil Mack? It's just going to get one Bernie head in terms of actually happening, right? Really going down and really turning into a real possibility. So the reason why we're talking about trading for Khalil Mack potentially is because Dog Pound Daily wrote out an article of possible trade targets for the Browns during the draft, which we see all the time, every single year. So it's not out of bounds that Khalil Mack is traded during this year's draft. Now, some background on the former 4th overall pick out of Buffalo. He has 2 years remaining on his deal. He turned 32 years old this past February, so he is definitely approaching the end of his career. But we are talking about a one-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year. He was a monster of the midway for the Bears, and he was really good for the Raiders, if not awesome. Now, there has been some trade buzz around Mack because he does carry a bit of a decent cap hit, and maybe the Chargers want to unload some of that money just 1 year after trading for Mack from Chicago. Now, here's what Khalil has done over the last 4 seasons. 8 sacks, 6 sacks, 9 sacks, 8.5 sacks. I don't think he's a top 5 defensive end, outside linebacker, depending on what scheme you put him in anymore. But he's definitely a very useful edge rusher who still can get after the quarterback and be an absolute game changer and game disruptor. Now, Khalil Mack's cap hits over the next 2 seasons are $16.6 million and then a whopping 38.5. That's what happens when you push a lot of money to the end of the line. So the Chargers might just outright cut him, but if they are looking for cap relief and they want to try and get something for him, a trade very well could be in the mix here. A team is not going to be looking to pay him that much money. So similar to the Allen Robinson trade that went down with the Rams and the Steelers, the Chargers are going to have to eat a lot of this money, which oddly enough is exactly how they got him from Chicago, where the Bears ate a lot of the money, and now the Chargers might be eating a lot of this money. Listen, on paper, Khalil Mack, Myles Garrett, like, what's not to love? And I'm still not opposed to that idea, but unless the Chargers are willing to eat a ton of the money, I just don't see how it can get done. I know the cap is a myth, and Andrew Berry is a cap wizard, but at some point, there is a ceiling, right? There is a point where it's like, we have hit our max in terms of money we can give out, and if it costs Khalil Mack that much, which that's not exactly what the Browns have to pay. That's just the cap hits. For this year, it'd just be the base salary, which is relatively low. But still, I feel like Andrew Berry is going to go, we've maxed out our credit cards. Do we really want to open a new credit card to pay our previous credit card bills and get Khalil Mack? It does seem a bit really all in on 2023 and just not caring about 2024 and beyond if you want to go get a guy like Mack. So be the GM. Would you trade for Khalil Mack? T for trade or P for pass? Chime in for me down in the comment section. Moving on to our third and final segment of today's show. So the Browns go out and sign Josh Gordon. I'm going to give it 4 Bernie heads from the standpoint of I would love to see it happen. It's not 4 Bernie heads from it's actually going to happen for sure. You can take it to the bank. So here's the background here. Josh Gordon was doing an interview with a YouTube channel called Bet Jack, a really good interview, and he joked about returning to Cleveland, and that sort of stirred the pot for Browns fans. Now, he's currently playing in the XFL with the Seattle Sea Dragons. He has not been very, how do I put this nicely, productive since 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, the last 3 seasons. He's got 5 total receptions. He has been a practice squad guy. I know he was with the Titans last year. He played 2 seasons. He played 2 games for Tennessee and amassed all of 1 target, I think. He's not the Josh Gordon we all want him to be anymore, but he's still Josh Gordon. Like, I'm not going to say no to the idea of him coming back. Now, before we look at some really interesting stats you guys might find unique, make sure to check out our NFL draft hats for the Cleveland Browns. Before the NFL draft gets underway, get the official Browns 2023 NFL draft hat when you use our link. There it is, chatsports.com/Browns hat. It's in the comments and the description of today's show. Now, let's look at Josh Gordon's stats. On the left-hand side of your screen is what he did in 2013. That magical 1,600-yard season with Brandon Weeden and Jason Campbell throwing him the rock. 9 touchdowns in only 14 games, too. Now, remove 2013, and those stats on the right are his stats from the rest of his career. He had a total of 2,600 yards outside of 2013. It's pretty remarkable how it was just really 1 season. People forget that he was actually sneaky good the year before in 2012 and not bad in 2014 either, but it was pretty much, of course, all 2013. So in all seriousness here, it's a new regime in Cleveland. Andrew Berry wasn't there in 2013. Neither was Kevin Stefanski. Very few people in Berea were. So maybe they offer him a practice squad spot if an injury pops up. They already had Michael Woods go down. So I'm definitely not opposed if he continues to look good in the XFL. I'm going to be rooting for a Josh Gordon return to Cleveland because why not? But I'm not going to say Josh Gordon's going to come back and they're going to have 2013 Josh Gordon added to this offense. Now, he's going to be a practice squad guy, but even if he is a practice squad guy, it's a cool story. Bring him back to the land, I say. So with that being said, he is an all-time random Cleveland Browns player. We haven't done this in a hot minute, so let me know. A random Browns player. It has to be random. Jason Campbell is a random Browns player. It can't be mainstream. So don't go with Bernie or Nick Chubb or something like that. Give me someone that most people barely remember him being on the team even. Let's see what random Browns players you guys got going for me here. We got Keith. We got this guy named Caleb in the chat. Caleb is just trying to be the instigator right now. You know what, Caleb? Fuck the Steelers. Let's go Browns, baby. AFX Apocalypse. We got Brian Brennan. Now, that's a random one from Jonathan. Good to see you, Jonathan, here. Levi's going with Cameron. We got Corey Coleman from Andrew Mitchell. Andrew, that is a great random Browns player. I like that one a lot. All-time draft bust. That's a bummer. I know. I'm getting worked up. We got Scott from John. We got Mike. I'm giving a bunch of first names at this point here. Now, we do have some super chats to catch up on that came in during the break there. So let's recap all the latest super chats we had come in here. Darren Wilson super chatted. We got some more after that. But Darren, thank you so much for the super chat. We got Christopher with a $10 super chat. That's a dog bowl. F. Pitt. Roethlisberger was a predator and they worshipped him. Go Petey. Chris, couldn't agree more with the old saying that is, don't throw stones if you live in a glass house. If you're the Steelers and you want to poke fun at Deshaun Watson, get in line. because you're not the only one. But take a look in your own backyard and remember what Big Ben was up to back in, 2006, 2007, in a certain bathroom? So don't come at us like your team is a bunch of saints back there, because that is not the case for the Steelers. F Pitt and D Chris, thank you so much. That's a dog bowl. Did I see another one pop in, or am I making things up? No, I think I'm making things up. So we'll update the Super Chat battle for you all. A dog bowl for Christopher. Chris, thank you so much for the Super Chat. Let's go Browns, baby. Braylon Edwards, okay. Mike Vick, I don't know about that one. Baker Mayfield's too mainstream to be, same with Webster Slaughter. Like, these are Courtney Brown. That's a great one from Levi. Okay, so the Super Chat battle here, $86 for 731. It's a tall mountain. I'm not denying that. I'm not going to try and act like $731 is chump change. But I believe in the dog pound. I believe in every single person watching right now to show up, get loud, and let's beat Steelers talk so we can go live for the NFL draft. Because simply put, the bosses here got tired of Jack and I from Steelers talk making subtle jabs at one another, and they're like, just settle it like men. YouTube Super Chat battle, because that's how it's done in 2023. So Cody Parkey, okay, that's a random Brown one for sure. I remember the anxiety I had in 2020 for Cody Parkey was like, if he misses a big kick in the playoffs, I'm going to lose it. Otto Graham, Felix Wright. Love you too, AFX Apocalypse. William Green, Michael Jackson. We got Peyton Hillis from Keith. Keith, that's a great one. Now, we got some legends in the chat. I see some big ballers when it comes to the Super Chat battle. Appreciate everyone who spends their hard-earned money with us here to help support the channel. So with that being said, we are going to jump into the next element of today's show. Did the fan get stolen out of here? No, it's okay. I'll make do. Yeah. Markevius Mingo. I like that one a lot. Dalen Baldwin. That's pretty recent here. Miguel going Shelton Benjamin. We got some good random Browns players. I love this game. Jamal Lewis. Okay. Let's talk mock draft here. Let's jump into a Cleveland Browns mock draft. It is mock draft time. I am sure this is the 419th mock draft you have seen so far. But you know what? What's 420? Speaking of. So, with that being said, we are going to look at a brand new Cleveland Browns mock draft with trades, though, because I do believe the Browns are going to make some trades. Now, first, let's refresh everyone's memory and check out Cleveland's 2023 draft picks here. So, in round 3, pick 74, pick 98, 111, 126, and so on and so forth. So, the Browns, despite not having a first or second, still bring a lot to the table with 8 draft picks this year. Now, before we start and look at any picks I've made, I'm about 94% certain that the Browns are going to trade some of their picks away. I don't think they have 8 roster spots open, so they definitely don't want to just draft players just to have them get cut in August. And I think they might think ahead a little bit, knowing they don't have a ton of draft picks in 2024, or they might decide, let's go quality over quantity, let's bundle some picks together, and let's move forward, and let's just get 2 or 3 of our top guys and be happy with that. So with that, let's start this mock draft off with a trade that I made. I know everyone's going to be anxiously waiting for pick 74, but like last year, I've got the Browns moving back from their first pick in the draft. I made a trade with the Chargers. Now, here are the details of that trade. I've got the Browns and the Chargers swapping third-round picks this year. So Cleveland goes from 74 to 85. And because they moved back from 74 to 85, they pick up the Chargers' third-round pick next year. But LA also gets the Browns' fifth-round pick this year, one of their 2 fifth-round picks. So they net a future third, and they move back a couple spots, and they give up a 5th rounder. So after going back to pick 85, my selection for Cleveland is defensive lineman Zach Pickens out of South Carolina. At the combine, he measured in at 6'3", 291 pounds. So very Andrew Berry-esque for defensive tackles he has drafted before. A 3-year starter at South Carolina. He was a big deal when the Gamecocks got him, actually. He was the third highest ranked recruit to ever sign with the Gamecocks, just behind Jadeveon Clowney. Now, this to me feels like a Jim Schwartz caliber defensive tackle. He's going to want someone that has some pass rush abilities, but also is nasty in the run game. In 2022, for the Gamecocks, 42 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, and 2.5 sacks. A big-time recruit for South Carolina, was a bit underwhelming for USC, but still, he had some good seasons there, and he might not be a first-round pick, but he's still going to be a day 2 pick in my book. Now, where would he slot in on this defensive line? I don't know what the future with Perion Winfrey is, so if the Browns don't believe in him in the long term, and Jordan Elliott's probably not going to be here after this season, well, you might want to start thinking ahead and begin to develop a rotation for 2023 and 2024 with Pickens or some other early defensive lineman. Now, the Browns pick up a much-needed day 2 pick for 2024, and they add some great depth at the defensive line and don't just rely on Dalvin Tomlinson to be the only consistent guy. I'm also, I like the Pickens pick, but honestly, guys, I like the day 3 pick, the 3rd round pick for next season more. Because the Browns, they're not going to be big spenders in free agency next year. They need to amass more day 2 picks without a first rounder. So with that being said, what direction should the Browns be trading? Should they be going up or should they be going down, right? Trading up, meaning moving closer to the first overall pick, or trading down, getting back to pick Mr. Irrelevant. Let me know which direction you'd rather see the Browns trade in. Moving on to our next pick here. This is Cleveland's own comp pick, number 98, and it is Jamie Robinson. I love this. 5'11", $191. He was a 3-year starter between South Carolina before transferring to Florida State. Now, he was FSU's defensive MVP and their leading tackler last season. The only knock that the big draft gurus have on him is his size. Well, I'm here to say for all guys that size does not always matter. And for Robinson, this is going to be a very fun pick. Last year for the Seminoles, 99 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 1 sack, and 1 interception. He has great ball skills, and he also has a knack for making plays in the box. He is simply a field general and was all over the field in Tallahassee for the last 2 years. Robinson is flat out one of my favorite players in this draft class. If you've been a longtime subscriber, go back to our first ever mock draft, and I want to say I took Robinson in round 2 back when the Browns had their 2nd round pick. He's a nasty run stopper. You've locked Juan Thornhill up for 3 seasons. If Grant Delpit is not the guy, not a bad time to either just add an extra safety to this room, get some good depth, and have the next Ronnie Harrison there, or move on from Delpit after next season, and Robinson can step into a bigger role with Juan Thornhill to his side. So that is my first 2 picks, and with the next pick, well, I made another trade. I couldn't help myself. Struck a deal with the Minnesota Vikings, and we moved back from pick 111 to 119. So moved back 8 spots. And because we moved back 8 spots, I garnished a future 4th round pick for Minnesota. So adding more picks for early day 3 in 2024. And I burned a 2023 6th round pick because who gives a shit about 6th round picks? So with this pick at 119, I went wide receiver Parker Washington. 5'9", 204 pounds, multi-year starter at Penn State. Now, he primarily worked out of the slot, which is sort of the spot Cleveland does need some help with because Amari Cooper and DPJ, those are your outside boundary receivers. He's got great ball skills. He's also just a tough nut to crack as well. He doesn't have the best size. He doesn't have blazing speed for being a 5'9" guy. He's not one of those short but speed demon type players. Traits of David Bell, which I get wasn't an awesome rookie season, but I still am a believer in David Bell moving forward. Now, Parker Washington last year for the Nittany Lions, 611 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's also the cousin of Josh Dobbs, believe it or not. He's got a lot of family history in the NFL, so you know he's going to be getting a lot of good advice and a lot of good mentorship as he makes his way up the rank. So now the wide receiver room for Cleveland, it seems pretty full, right? Look at the 4 faces on screen. They are all locks to make this roster, I believe. David Bell is going to make it too. So if you got 5 guys there, Michael Woods getting injured probably opens up a roster spot. He was already kind of a bubble player anyway. But Jakeem Grant, Anthony Schwartz, Demetric Felton, add a rookie in there. You got 5 guys already somewhat locked into the 2023 roster. You got 2 more open spots max. You get some good competition. You draft Parker Washington in the 4th round. He's probably going to occupy one of those spots. I still think the Browns are going to add another wide receiver because Amari Cooper's not going to be around forever. And it's always good to keep adding more more explosive players on offense at the wide receiver position. Just start replanting new seeds at that spot. And Parker Washington in round 4, I like the value there. Now, before we get to the rest of my mock draft picks, make sure to subscribe before the NFL draft kicks off. Do yourself a favor, because when the draft starts and the picks start getting made, you're going to want to know who these guys are. And we will have pick-by-pick analysis. So do future you a favor right now and subscribe today if you have not already. So to recap the picks we have made so far, in case you forgot, we moved back not once but twice and landed Zach Pickens, Jamie Robinson, and then Parker Washington. We have netted some future draft picks. So now at pick 126 in round number 4, I'm going to go linebacker finally, and it is Henry To'oTo'o from Alabama, the 6'1", 227-pound linebacker. He was a 4-year starter in the SEC, 2 years in Knoxville, 2 years in Tuscaloosa, 2-time first-team All-SEC, and also a freshman All-American. He was extremely productive in all 4 years. 4-year starter, like I said, and 4 years, he was one of, if not the best players on his defense. Specifically in Alabama, the last 2 years, always available and always making plays. 205 tackles, 16 tackles for loss, and 6.5 sacks. Now, he doesn't have outstanding athleticism, believe it or not, which I know everyone loves to say everyone in the draft is an athletic freak, but he is my draft sleeper. He's got really great instincts. He always seems to find himself making a play. He always seems to find himself at the nose of the football. Great production over 4 years. In round 4, if I could add some more depth to this linebacker room, which desperately needs it, yeah, I'm going to cash in and go with the Polynesian Prince. In round 5, I went offensive line. Carter Warren, tackle from Pitt, 6'5", 311 pounds, a 4-year starter for the Panthers, primarily at left tackle. So for everyone watching that isn't a big Jedrick Wills fan, this could be a potential replacement down the road. Now, the Browns need to add some more depth to this offensive line, specifically at the tackle position. You've got James Hudson, but if you want to bring in a new swing tackle or start thinking post-Conklin or post-Wills potentially, maybe you look to Carter Warren. Now, PFF overall grades for him. The last 3 seasons, unfortunately, he got injured early in 2022, but he was a multi-year starter for the Panthers, and he posted really good scores, right? Over 27 games the last 3 years, 66.4, 70.7, 64.4. In round 4, round 5, you're not finding starters necessarily, but I like the upside for a big body left tackle like Carter Warren. We're going to get to more mock draft picks in just a moment, but first things first, the NFL draft, ladies and gentlemen, is just around the corner. So make sure you are rocking the official Cleveland Browns 2023 NFL draft hat by going to chatsports.com/Browns hat. It's in the comments and the description of today's show. Now, to refresh everyone's memories, through 5 picks, I went Zach Pickens, Jamie Robinson, Parker Washington, Henry To'oTo'o, and Carter Warren. So I see 3 defenders, 2 offensive players, and I've netted 2 future picks as well. So with my last pick in this year's draft, after making some trades in round 7, let's add a running back, right? Let's add Mohamed Ibrahim from Minnesota, a player who scored 20 touchdowns. Now, he was with the Golden Gophers for a long time. He was a staple of the Big Ten. He had a bad Achilles injury a few seasons ago, but he always found himself in the midst of making big, great plays for the Golden Gophers. So in round 7, if you're not all that sold on Nick Chubb being here for the length of his contract, Why not throw a dart at the board and pick a guy who put up 1,600 yards and 20 touchdowns last year for Minnesota? So to recap my mock draft results here, I went Zach Pickens from South Carolina, Jamie Robinson, the safety from Florida State. I traded back twice, got Parker Washington, Henry To'oTo'o, Carter Warren, Mohamed Ibrahim, and then a future third-round pick and a future fourth-round pick for the Browns. So the reason why I like my draft a lot here, and I'm going to give myself a B, is because I love picking up picks for Cleveland in 2024. I don't think the Browns are going to be as active in free agency next year as they were this year. This year, it feels like the Browns don't even need to show up to the draft. They've got their roster for 2023. That won't be the case next year. So next year, when the Browns don't have a first-round pick, they will need those second and third and fourth-round picks to be impact players and deliver year one. So a good way to make sure that happens is spread your chips across the table. Don't just put it all on black. Play on the inside too. Play on the different numbers right there. That way you feel like, well, if you got 4 picks in day 2 and early day 3, 4 picks between round 2, 3, and 4, or 5 picks, if 3 of those guys hit when we need them because we don't spend a ton in free agency, you're going to be feeling a lot more confident about this team next year. Grade my mock draft for me, A, B, C, D, or F. What grade are we giving it right now? Let me know. I'm seeing some B's. Deuce Vaughn was set in for Mac Predelis. I did pass on Deuce Vaughn. I like Deuce Vaughn. The only issue is everyone loves Deuce Vaughn. And when everyone's in on something, it usually doesn't happen. So that's why I am now fading Deuce Vaughn a little bit here. Chris is giving me a B. I see some B pluses. Dylan giving me an A minus. I love it. Too many Pennsylvania players. I think Caleb, by the way, is a closet Browns fan. He spent a lot of his time today hanging out with the dog pound. I think we are slowly bringing him over from the dark side, and he's now going to be one of us. No Stetson Bennett. He ain't getting drafted. I'm standing by that. I am standing by that. Now, let's throw our Super Chat menu on, McCullough, before we get into the last segment today. Just to refresh everyone's memories on what we are offering today. First-time Super Chatters get a letter, handwritten letter from me. If you are a first-time Super Chatter, hit me up on Twitter if you've already Super Chatted. Let me know what address you want me to send it to, and I'll pop it in the mail tonight. $10, we drink out of the dog bowl. Woof, woof. $20, some F-Pit chance. Have not gotten a $20 Super Chat yet. Let's get our first $20 Super Chat, and everyone will say F-Pit for you. $50, we get a Browns player comp unveiled for you. We've already had a couple Super Chats come in. And $100 is a Browns beer bong. McCullough, do you want to run through some of those Browns player comps really quickly? Just to remind everyone what they look like. And, hey, if you're watching right now and you want to see it come on screen, by all means, feel free to Super Chat, and we'll throw that up for everyone watching. So we got Bronny D, for example. Just rattle through them all one after another. We got some great ones here. Brown Tiger, Chef Ruben. So many legends here at the channel. $50 will give you your own player comp for everyone to see when you Super Chat in the future. Max saying B minus only because To'oTo'o would be nice to have him next to Taki. That'd be an all-time, just tongue twister for opposing or away broadcasters. Taki and To'oTo'o in on the tackle. But the Polynesian Princes for Cleveland, if the Browns won a Super Bowl and they were the leading linebackers, build the statues right there in Hawaii. Get it done. Has to be done. Me and Zone are the only ones who don't have a comp. I don't tell you guys, $50, we can get you one. Can't bend the rules when we've always set the standard here. I felt so good watching Petey drink my dog bowl. I love it. What do we get for 1K? Michael, if you throw in a $1,000 Super Chat, I think my firstborn son is going to be named Michael. That's what you get for a 1K Super. Okay, so these are our Browns player comps. Thank you so much, McCullough. Let's throw the Super Chat battle on here. We've got some work to do, but I've got faith in the dog pound. So if you want to beat the Steelers in Super Chats this week and you want us to go live for the 2023 NFL Draft, we don't have to make it up all at once. Team effort. just start chipping away. Some good 3-4 yard rushes, a first down pass to DPJ, Njoku over the middle for 10 yards. You hit Cooper down the sideline for 15. You find Nick Chubb on the outside for 12. You're in the red zone, and it's Elijah Moore over the middle. And boom, the Browns just put up 6, and they lead the Pittsburgh Steelers 35-0 in the second quarter. Speaking it into existence. Let's go Browns, baby. Let's go Browns. We got Bobby a sub from the beginning. That's what I'm talking about here. Now, we are going to get into our last segment in just a moment. It is all about NFL draft trades, right? Players that could be going out or coming in over the 3-day stretch that is the wonderful NFL draft. So with that being said, are we ready to go, Mr. McCullough? Follow. Yep. Right. Yep. Okay. So we have a green light from executive producer Matthew McCullough. Let's get into a Browns draft trade segment. We're going to look at some potential trades the Browns could make during the draft with guys going in or guys going out. But first things first, it is officially draft week now, so make sure to subscribe for pick-by-pick analysis. Never miss a single breakdown of any future Cleveland Browns players when you are subscribed to the channel. Andrew Berry is always busy this time of year, and do not put it past him to make some more trades. I know it might feel like the Browns are tapped out a little bit, but I've heard some buzz and some murmurs from Berea that Andrew Berry, if a good deal presents himself, will continue to be one of the most aggressive GMs in the NFL and strike while the iron is hot. So with that, let's take a look at 5 trade possibilities the Browns could make. Now, the first trade is bringing someone in, and that is Montez Sweat, defensive end from the Washington Commanders. Washington has an interesting problem, if you will, on its hand. It's got too many good defensive linemen, and they can't all pay them. So some guys might be on the way out, and maybe the Commanders want to get a pick before losing them in free agency. So the Commanders did just pay Daron Payne. Chase Young is going to be next, most likely. So could the Commanders try and flip Sweat for a draft pick before losing him in free agency at the end of 2023? He was a first-round pick out of Mississippi State. Now, Andrew Berry has been super aggressive so far in free agency and trades, and he has completely revamped the defensive line. Every single issue or need the Browns had going into the offseason, he has addressed. So now he's just looking to get out of control with it, right? Now he's just playing with house money. Well, let's just see how great I can make this unit. Now, Montez Sweat in his career, the former first-round pick, has been very consistent and honestly a very good player for Washington. 8 sacks, 14 tackles for loss. I don't think anyone's ever going to say Montez Sweat is supposed to be a number 1 edge rusher on a team, but that's perfectly fine. The Browns don't need him for that role. The Browns need him to complement Myles Garrett nicely moving forward and add more pass rushers to this rotation because I like the Obo free agent signing, but Obo has never put up numbers like that before. So why not see what Sweat can do in a rotation with him? Now, what does a trade look like for Sweat? I think he's probably going to command a 3rd-round pick. So I get it, moving on from pick 74 would be a bummer. But if the Browns believe that Montez Sweat is going to be a bigger impact to this team in 2023 than pick number 74, and they catch wind that he's available, you better believe Andrew Berry is going to pick up the phone and start doing some homework on him. Now, there is one issue that comes to trading for Montez Sweat, and it is this. He's got 1 year left on his deal, his 5th-year option this season. So do the Browns want to extend him when they trade for him? Because if they don't have plans of extending him and giving him a good chunk of change, he's not going to reset the market, but he's going to get over $10 million a season. Well, if they don't see him that long term, do you want to give up a 3rd-round pick that should be on this team for 4 seasons for a guy who might be here for just 1 year? If the world is ending, yeah, put all of our eggs in the basket of 2023. But Andrew Berry does have to find a balance of 2023 versus playing for the future as well, because there are more seasons to be had. So if he does not see him reaching a deal with Montez Sweat, and this is just like a 1-year rental before he's a free agent, then I'm going to be a lot more cautious about giving up a third-round pick for him. So sound off for me here. Will the Browns make a draft trade? They made one last year for Troy Hill, so do not put it past them. But give me your best predictions, Y for yes or N for no. Now, let's move on to our second draft trade. This one is going out the door, and that is Harrison Bryant. One of my favorite random Browns players of all time, the tight end who I've always said, if I see Harrison Bryant in a bar, I'm going to give Harrison Bryant, or anyone wearing, rather, a Harrison Bryant jersey, a free beer. Now, the Browns tight end room, David Njoku, Harrison Bryant, and then Jordan Akins. Those are your three tight ends. You got Zaire Mitchell-Payton as well. So if Jordan Akins, who was signed, pushes Harrison Bryant for the tight end 2 spot, maybe he becomes available. Now, Harrison Bryant in his career, these are his stats. 108 targets, 76 receptions, 710 yards, and 7 touchdowns. He has not looked like a guy who can be a real legit receiving tight end 2. They definitely didn't draft him for his blocking abilities, so he has not quite been a future tight end for this team. Also, the Jordan Akins signing makes me feel like Bryant could be made available for a trade. Makes you wonder if they if they signed Akins with the intent of, you know what, him and Njoku are tight ends 1 and 2. Let's see if we can get something for Harrison Bryant. If not, we will outright release him if we don't think he's a spot on this roster. Moving on to our third out of fifth, trade targets here. Coming in is Ed Oliver, defensive tackle from the Buffalo Bills. The former 9th overall pick for Buffalo has been okay. Not been bad, not been great for them though. So he has a cap hit this year of $10 million. He has been so-so. I'm going to put as underwhelming, depending on who you ask, really, up in Buffalo. He has also been involved in some trade rumors. He deleted some social media posts that kind of made you wonder, is he going to be there long term? Now, last season, PFF ranked him as the 43rd best interior defensive lineman out of 127. That is way better than Taven Bryan or Jordan Elliott or Togiai or Winfrey were last year, just for reference here. Here are his career stats. He has never had the pass rush upside that Buffalo is looking for when they drafted him 9th overall. He has always been predominantly a run-stopping player, but he has been, like I said, a little bit better than middle of the pack. Has he been worthy of a 9th overall pick? Probably not, but he's not been a bad player. He was probably just drafted in the wrong spot. So in order to get Ed Oliver, I've got the Browns giving up a 4th-round pick. Now, similar to Montez Sweat, he's on the last year of his deal. So, do the Browns see a future with Ed Oliver, and they want to give him that contract extension that he's looking for in Buffalo, and the Bills aren't interested in giving him? Ed Oliver, good player, would be a great addition to this defensive line. He will make this defensive line better. Again, the question is, do you see him long term? And if not, are you okay with just having him for 1 year and going all in on 2023? Now, moving on to our next trade night candidate here. This is, unfortunately, Anthony Schwartz. We're all probably too mean on Anthony Schwartz, myself included, no doubt about it. I wanted to be in on the former track star from Auburn, but Anthony Schwartz is definitely going to be a trade candidate for the Browns. The only question is anyone going to call and make an offer for Anthony Schwartz, right? Last year, just 51 yards off 4 receptions. He's got that 1 touchdown in the Packers game on Christmas Day 2 years ago. But Anthony Schwartz is looking at an uphill battle to make this roster right now. A former 3rd-round pick. If another team wants to throw a 7th-round pick at you, that's probably all you're going to get for Anthony Schwartz. I mean, here's the wide receiver room. It's pretty full. I see 5 roster locks between the 4 faces on screen and David Bell. You want to toss in Jakeem Grant if he rebounds nicely. There's 6 guys already. So it looks like Anthony Schwartz is on the outside looking in. Now, N'Keal Harry, a former 1st-round pick for the Patriots, who was way more productive than Anthony Schwartz, he was traded for a 7th-round pick to the Bears last year. I think Anthony Schwartz might get you a 20-30 7th-round pick at the rate those things are going here. So our fifth and final draft night trade is someone coming in to Cleveland. It is Grover Stewart, the defensive tackle. Did you guys notice a trend? I think if the Browns are going to make a trade, it's either going to be for a defensive end, a pass rusher, or an interior defensive lineman. Now, Grover Stewart, the former fourth-round pick by Indianapolis back in 2017, he has been very reliable for the Colts. He has not missed a start for them in 3 straight seasons. Now, his PFF rank last season, 35th out of 127. So a little bit better than Ed Oliver for what it's worth. The former 9th overall pick, at least in the eyes of PFF, is getting outdone by a 4th-round pick. This also does go to show as a good reminder, don't just burn all 4th-round picks. Some of them could be Grover Stewart's. Now, the last 4 seasons, he has been, like I said, very reliable for Indianapolis. And he's also been pretty productive, and he's coming off a career-high 4 sacks as he starts to pick up his pass rushing abilities. So the Colts could be a complete yard sale this draft. They are looking to rebuild from the bottom up with a new quarterback and all. So if a team wants to throw draft picks for some of their older veteran players, maybe they view that as an opportunity to find their next Grover Stewart, who's going to be cheaper and on a rookie contract for the next 4 seasons, and not have to pay this veteran some good money who might not be there for 4 more years. So what does it cost to get Grover? I'm going to throw a 5th Indy's direction. Maybe that's too much. He's pretty good. I'm not going to lie. So I think 5th round pick feels about right to get Grover Stewart. So those are my trade projections for those 3 guys coming to the Browns. Now, Stewart might be my sneaky favorite guy of the 3 we looked at today because of the value, right? I mean, Montez Sweat is the best of all 3, but he also cost you the most of all 3. So if you want to keep your 3rd round pick and still get a good player, maybe not as good, but still good, well, Grover Stewart could be your guy. So with that being said, let's take a look at the 5 trade ideas I outlined in today's show and ask you guys to comment which one is your favorite trade. Is it trading for Montez Sweat or Ed Oliver or Grover Stewart? Or is it trading away Harrison Bryant and Anthony Schwartz and getting some draft picks? If you get any, really at all, but still, nevertheless, a 2025 7th round pick. So sound off for me down in the comment section below. Which one of these trades is your favorite? What are we thinking? Will the Browns make a draft trade? Huh? I'm looking for the chat right now to see. We're talking about the 30 cents right now in the Super Chat battle? Yeah. Kelly Bale, if everyone that came in today donated $5, we'd have killed him. The game's not over. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Do not act like there are triple zeros on the board right now. I saw we had some Super Chats fly in during that last segment, so let's throw them on screen, and then we're going to update the standings because it's definitely an uphill battle. But I got faith in the dog pound right now to beat Steelers talking Super Chats here. And I've got one more piece of ammunition. One more piece to push you over the edge if you're not quite sold just yet here. But first thing first, we got some more Super Chats from Mike Hall. Or any of these first-time Super Chatters? I think this might be Mike Hall's first-time Super Chat. What's your guess on touchdowns versus interceptions for Watson? I will go with Deshaun Watson, who threw 7 touchdowns and 5 interceptions last year, throwing 30 touchdowns and 11 interceptions this year. 30 touchdowns, 11 picks for Deshaun Watson in 2023. Mike Hall, first-time Super Chatter, thank you so much. Let me know where to send you a letter. I'll pop something in the mail, talking brownies, talking shop, all that good stuff. So hit me up on Twitter. We'll get my Twitter badge at the bottom for you in just a moment. So let me know if you want to talk some football through the USPS, because I love the mail. All right, we got a Super Chat coming in from Keith. He's got his own Browns player comp. We'll throw that on screen for you next, Keith. Matching next 3 supers. Come on, people. Whoa, we got a philanthropical person here matching Super Chats. Everyone, this is an opportunity to get your first Super Chat in because Keith is going to match the next 3. Keith, the Michael Dean Perry of the Cleveland Browns report, a menace in the middle of the defensive line. Keith, thank you so much for being so supportive of the channel. Let's go Browns. Come on. Our time to shine, baby. Super chat menu on screen in case you're just tuning in. We've got Kelly Bale with a $10 super chat. Really counted 20 if we're going to get a match from Keith. No pressure, but Keith is a man of his word, I believe. $10 super chat from Kelly. AFX is loaded, LOL. Dog Bowl, Petey. Magic Keith. We've got murmurs in the chat right now. Kelly Bale from north of the border. Shout out to you. We were having a good debate at the office today. Leonard Kenny, good show or not? I never got really too much into it. Love Trailer Park Boys, though. So, Kelly and Keith, thank you so much. Cannonball, baby. Cannonball time. The updated numbers here. I know it's a daunting hill to look up to. But, baby, if you hate the Steelers, just a little bit, throw a little bit of a, little coin in the pond right now, and let that be your venting session for wanting to turn around the rivalry that is Cleveland and Pittsburgh. We got a $5 super chat coming in from Miguel F. Pitt. Let's go, Miguel. Miguel started the show off with a $50 super chat. Hey, you get a Browns player comp, Miguel, so let me know which player you would like. Miguel F. Pitt in the chat, thank you so much. Let's go, Browns. Let's beat the Steelers. That is the number one goal in life. Well, that's not true. Super Bowl, then beating the Steelers. But I'll be honest, sweep the Pittsburgh Steelers, before you even tell me how the rest of the season goes, I'm going to be pretty thrilled with that season already if I know that they swept the Steelers. So, updating the super chat totals right now, we have crossed 100 buckaroonies. We've got a bit of ways to go right now. I also need to get my wisdom teeth removed. And if I'm being honest, I feel like it is coming through as I speak right now. So if you want to help support my wisdom teeth removal bill, that definitely goes a long way. Because I'm standing here like, wow, my tooth is killing. Max with a $10 super chat. Max, let's go. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go Browns. Let's go Browns. Max, go Browns. Love this show. This show loves you, Max. $10 super chat. That's a dog bowl. Finished our first beer. So cracking open the next one. And we got another $5 super chat from Miguel. A $15 super chat from Keith. Let's go Browns. Max, shout out to you. Miguel with a $5 super chat. Browns player, Joe Thomas. Unfortunately, you picked like one of the 2 or 3 guys we do not offer up because no one can ever be Joe Thomas. So no Myles Garrett, no Deshaun Watson, no Nick Chubb, and no Joe Thomas. Those guys are just in their own tier right now, and so no one can quite be their own Joe Thomas. I apologize if that breaks your heart, but find another guy out there. There are a lot of great Cleveland Browns players. Just skip like 2016 to 2018. Just don't even look at that part in time, and we'll find a good player for you. Keith, what's going on? Match numbers 2 and 3. We'll do one more. Come on, someone give me some. Come on, someone give me something good to match. Someone give Keith something good to match. If we get a $50 super chat, here's what we're going to do. $50 super chat, match that, Dirty Dog Bowl. Dirty Dog Bowl, that's beer and Fireball in this bad boy right here. We're making deals just like Keith is. Here is the super chat battle for you all today. Now, we can't stay up here forever. I wish. So, with that being said, as I take this Dog Bowl for Keith's $15 super chat, we're going to run through some of the questions you guys had, hashtag Browns, and I'll answer them. And once we run out of questions, we'll have to get on out of here. But, Keith, thank you so much. Whew. I really need to go see the doctor soon. My tooth is killing right now. I think I know what I'm doing this weekend now. Okay, we got some questions coming in here. Yeah, that one from Tyrone. Tank Dell would be such a nasty pick. Loved everything about him. Really cool story, right? Jumping around a little bit, gets a good shot at Houston. Crazy good production, elite speed. In round 3, remember last year when we were all shocked by the Martin Emerson pick? We're like, the Browns don't need any more corners. What are they doing? Would it really behoove any of us if Andrew Berry does the same thing this year and he picks a wide receiver just because he thinks he is the best player? Don't rule it out just yet. Oh, Miguel, I'm so sorry, man. You are killing me, dude. Let's throw Miguel's super chat up on screen here. Miguel, you picked someone that's already been picked before. We're going to run through all the Browns player comps so we can stop blue balling Miguel and get him a good one. Josh Cribbs. We've already got a Josh Cribbs here at the channel. So we're going to find a different player comp for you. I'm trying to think of one on the spot right now. Miguel, $50 off the bat, big boom play. I feel like that could be a good, he's better than Terrence West. What about who's a good receiver? A Travis Benjamin? Hey, what do we think of that one? I know he's no Josh Cribbs, but still a good returner. We like Travis Benjamin. But Miguel, thank you so much. We got so many great super chatters coming in here. We'll run through some of the other questions. Yeah. We've got a Dennis Northcutt, I believe, already. We got a Steelers fan in the chat right now. So, in case you don't know what's going on here, we are in a super chat battle if you're just tuning in with Steelers talk. So, we're going to try and destroy them. That way, we can go live for the NFL draft. AFX Apocalypse, what's going on, dude? We should draft Andre Carter, also F. Jack Sperry. You know, that's actually a good segue. Let me answer your Andre Carter part first. No one has a consensus on when Andre Carter should go. I've seen 2nd round, and I've seen 5th round. I don't know what to make my mind up with the guy, but I'm not going to say no to anyone really in day 3. Right? There's no one in day 3 where it's like, that's way too early. So if the Browns, as they should, are looking to add more edge rushers, Andre Carter out of Army, I like that one a lot. Now, before we get to this next super chat, can we go to the other video that we did not play? So here's some more motivation for everyone watching right now. If you've never super chatted before and you're like, well, what the hell do I care about giving this guy on YouTube some of my hard-earned money? That's a very valid point and concern to raise. But let me just kind of demonstrate the type of person we are at war with right now. Before I The saddest part is that's water. That was water in that boot right there. And he looked like he just came up from the sheets with Marge Simpson. So we can't lose to a guy like that. I like Sperry. We go on couples dates. Our girlfriends organize it. But still. You see what I'm working with right now? Can you guys sympathize with me a little bit here? And if you're looking for a good excuse, it's like, well, after watching that pathetic attempt of a beer boot, I had to speed it up, by the way, so you weren't here for quite literally 15 minutes for water. I don't know what other sales pitch I can give to try and motivate you to help us beat Steelers talk here at Chat Sports. We have some more super chats coming in. We are chipping our way towards the 7-3-1 we have to get to. Tyrone, what's going on? A $2 super chat from Canada. What do you think about Tank Dell Jr.? I like him. Like I was just saying earlier, I think he's a fun pick. I think he's got explosive speed and playmaking, extremely productive for the Houston Cougars. He's just going to be a 3rd-round pick, though. He's not a 2nd-rounder, and I don't think he falls to round 4. So the question is, do you want to go best player available or draft for need? Now, last year, I kind of knocked the Browns for going cornerback when you're like, we've got Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome and Troy Hill. What are you doing? Worked out pretty well, I think we can all agree. So I'm going to trust Andrew Berry for the best player available approach and think Maybe he sees 2 years from now Elijah Moore, Tank Dell, and DPJ as this team's future receivers. Yeah, that could be a really fun unit to start getting in on. So, Tyrone, thank you so much for the super chat. Mike Hall, love the show. Calling it now. Browns win the Super Bowl party at my house. I mean, okay, I follow. Browns win the Super Bowl, parties at Mike's house. I was like, how do you win a Super Bowl party? I guess we could have really good chips and dip there. Yeah. But you know what, Mike Hall? I'll be there, dude. If the Browns win a Super Bowl, I will be the most insufferable person to be around. I will never stop reminding people who just won the Super Bowl. I'll be that guy. So, Mike Hall, I'll be there. Just tell me when. I'll hop on a plane, no matter where it is, and we will be celebrating a Cleveland Browns Super Bowl together in 2024. Doctor coming back. What's going on, Doc? Water boot. I'm not making it up. I was going to save that last little bit of motivation for the end of the show, and there it is, folks. So, yeah, we're dealing with a guy who can't take down a simple water boot. And you know what? Throw the super chat battle up on screen text, please. We're at 145. If we can get to 250, if we can get to 300, I'll do an actual boot with actual beer in it and not have it take 15 minutes. That is my pledge to you guys. We're $155 away. Keith is still looking to match one more super chat. So if someone tosses a 50 in there, that grenade's going to explode as 100 if Keith matches it. So our super chat menu, to remind you guys of what we are offering up today. $10, it's a dog bowl. We drink out of the dog bowl. $20, some F-Pit chance. $50, it's a Browns player comp. And $100 is a Browns beer bong. That is what we have on deck for everyone watching. Now, we're going to go through some questions here that you guys have. If we run out of questions, well, then we got to relinquish the studio space and hand them over. So, McCullough, if you could find some hashtag Browns questions, please. We'll throw that on screen here. No belly shots. Caleb, if I can stump you on Steelers trivia, will you donate $50? Ooh, I kind of like that offer from Kelly. Someone said, tell Matthew. What are we telling here? I'm just looking down right now. Shay, fill me in here. Right here in Akron, Ohio. Great place to be. Cannot wait to celebrate this Super Bowl with Mike in Akron. Oh, I see. Okay. I know. Yeah, we did. So get hashtag Browns in the chat if you've got a question you want answered. Throw it on screen for free, and we'll talk about that. And if we don't get any more questions, well, then we got to sign off and get on out of here. But something tells me that the tone in the chat is we're not leaving, right? We're not fucking leaving. The show goes on, baby. Let's get there. Let's get to this point here. Dave is tuning in from Black Hawk, Colorado. We got to get Shay on the show. I think we're going to get Shay on for a preseason game. The Hall of Fame game. Browns-Jets. First week of August. Shay and Cruz. We'll sneak Cruz in. That's our dog. AFX Apocalypse. He's going to be a better boyfriend than I am for Shay for how often he's trying to get her on the show. You are quite the agent there. Now, while we kind of wait for some more questions to get in and whatnot here, have we all seen the Browns secondary logo designs? There are some good ones. Then there is just one, specifically, that is a remake of Clifford the Big Red Dog. And it's a little bit worse. And I honestly applaud that artist for going so simple and so third grade style. Maybe it is a third grader. But if that one wins, we got to rethink this whole democracy thing. Because there are some awesome artists who have submitted some great designs for a new secondary logo. And then there's a stick figure. And I'm a little worried that everyone's going to vote for the stick figure as a joke. And we will have a serious problem on our hands here. Lil Beam, what's going on? Draft trade idea. Browns get 2023 6th-round pick. The Jags get a 6th-round pick at Anthony Schwartz. So the Browns move up 5 spots in exchange for Anthony Schwartz. If the Jags will do this, sure. Absolutely. without a doubt in my mind. Because as of right now, Anthony Schwartz is not making this roster. So the question we're basically asking here is, would you rather move up 5 spots in round 6 or not? Why wouldn't you just say yes, right? Why not move up 5 spots? Because it's not like Schwartz is going to make this roster. So, yeah, Lil Beam, I'm in on it. Aiden Stutz, early Super Bowl predictions. Ooh. A couple thoughts. I don't think the Chiefs go back-to-back. Are the Bills actually going to pull it off? I don't think so this year. They got too many questions, it feels like. Although maybe that's actually going to work in their favor. Because last year, everyone had the Bills going. So, Bengals are going to be good. There's no denying that at this point. The Bengals are legit. They were not a one-hit wonder 2 years ago. They are a problem, and they're not going away. So, early predictions, I won't be a homer and just say the Browns. I know that's what everyone's looking for me to say. But if I'm going elsewhere in the AFC, give me the Bills, and the NFC is just awful this year. But I'll go Bills 49ers. The only thing is I just don't even know who San Francisco quarterback is. But that doesn't seem to bother me all that much. Is it Trey Lance? Is it Brock Purdy? Heck, is it Sam Darnold until Brock Purdy can return? I don't think the Eagles rebound well, so I'm going to go with the 49ers and the Bills. And I think, screw it, Buffalo wins it all. Buffalo wins the Super Bowl after coming up short the last 2-3 seasons over the 49ers. Kelly Bale, would you like to see more or less of Watson in preseason action? Last year, he played in the first game against Jacksonville. And then didn't he play in the second game, too? Who did they play in the second? I can't remember at this point anymore. Did they play the Bears? Kind of sounds right. I think that in the preseason, you should play pretty much like guys that don't need to play in the preseason are players like Myles Garrett. Because as a defensive end, you're not learning anything new, right? It is simply get after the quarterback. Yeah, we've got some new schemes and whatnot and some stunts for the defensive line to work in, but we don't need to see Myles Garrett. We don't need to see Nick Chubb. We don't really need to see Amari Cooper. I got to see Deshaun Watson get some more rust off, even though there really shouldn't be any rust left. So, yeah, I'd be fine with playing Deshaun Watson the first quarter of 2 of the 4 preseason games. Outside of that, like, you don't need to see. That's really about the only guys I don't need to see. Like Denzel Ward, Martin Emerson, Greg Newsome, they can all play a quarter. That's fine with me, honestly. I mean, I'm not a big fan of resting all 22 starters for all 3 preseason games. I think pretty much everyone outside of like Myles Garrett and Nick Chubb, who could get crappy fluke injuries, just sit them. They don't need to play at all. What was that? Oh, okay. Mac Predalis and AFX. Question from Mac Predalis. Now, if we don't get another super chat, we will just sign off here, unfortunately. It's been a fun show. It's been great, but I want to keep the show going. And super chats are the only way to keep the studio reserved here at Chat Sports, as you guys all know. AFX Apocalypse. We can throw that one on screen. Yeah. Here it is. Is Tommy Togiai making this roster? No. Let's say 4 defensive tackles make it. I think Tomlinson's a lock. He's really the only lock. I can't say Winfrey makes it with a gun to my head. I can't even say Elliott will make it with a gun to my head. So I think a rookie's going to make it. That's your second lock. And it's probably going to be Elliott or Winfrey. The only way Togiai makes this roster is if they move on from one of those 2 guys, shockingly, and hold on to Togiai. But as of right now, he is on the outside looking in without a doubt. Now, to remind you guys of the scoreboard here, we are behind. But we are not going to start waving the white flag. $40 super chat. That's what I'm talking about. Shake and bake, Chris. Christopher gets it. He's a Browns fan. Come on, Chris. Woo! Lyle Alzado. Ooh, on Browns in 1980. I want better sack numbers this season. That's your Browns player comp. Chris, we'll have that for you, store it up, and ready to go for all future Browns reports. Thank you for the super chat, Chris. You're the man. Let's go Browns. Just like that, we're up to 185. If we get Keith to match this, that's going to push us over 200. And at that point, we are just a short chip away from 300. And I'll do a boot if we get to $300. We got Jeremy Chuggs tuning in here. Chuggs is just the villain in chat sports, I feel like. When he comes over, he loves to just stir the pot and get under skin and whatnot. And he loves to talk shit. Loves to talk shit.
Here we go.
There it is.
Here we go.
Chris, thank you so much. F Pitt, let's go Browns. That's what I'm talking about. Jeremy, I love the guy, but I also hate him at the same time too. He's just one of those coworkers. He's funny, but when he's against you, you just want to put a bullet in either your head or his because it is just way too hard to deal with. If we get Keith in here, oh man, I'm going to blow up. Here's the super chat menu. So for $40 super chat, let's get the dog bowl and the F Pitt chance going right now for Chris. Every single person watching right now, spam F Pitt until your fingers start bleeding. Let's get some F Pitts in the chat going for Chris. And then I'll do a dog bowl as well for this one here. And then we'll get that Browns player comp whipped up for you for next week's live show. Hopefully we have one for the NFL draft, but we got to beat the Steelers in super chats today. Hello, Mitchell Renz. There's a lot of shit talking out there, I know. We got a ways to go. No doubt about it. But you know what? We're not waving the white flag. We're not losing hope. We need the dog pound to come up and come through. Now, Mitchell Renz from the Raiders Report, he is, I don't know, the inventor of super chats, if you will. Yeah. Usually you come in and start making deals. I know. He's looking right now. He's sort of like a stock trader at the moment. So, Mitch just ate 500 grams of broccoli. Now Nick Roloff is coming in here, so we got a whole squad. Yeah, thank you for the reminder. Couldn't do without you. So Rolly's coming on screen right now. What's going on, Rolly?
I'll offer a promise.
Okay, we got a promise coming in from Nick Roloff.
I see Keith just sending 40.
Keith with the 40. Keith's been matching the last three super chats. He lives up to his word. Let's go, Keith.
If we could get a $50 super chat.
$50 super chat.
Do a beer shot.
Beer shot fun.
There you go.
That's a good deal right there. That's a good deal that Nick Roloff just offered. You know what? If we get a $50 super chat, I'll also do a beer shot fun race with you.
Let's go.
That's a deal.
Listen, we cannot let fucking Steelers
Thank you.
beat the Browns.
Thank you.
That is a fucking joke.
Bingo. Bingo.
They laid out an all-out assault on the Browns report, and you're just going to sit here and take it? You can't do it.
Cannot do it. Now we got Tom Downey.
100 beer bong race.
$100 super chat, and Tom wants to do a beer bong race. Now Keith with a $40 super chat. Last match, I have to go. Come on, everyone else, chip in. See you later, PD and F Pitt. Keith, you are the man. F Pitt indeed. Let's go Browns, baby. We are making our way there. As I love to say when you bet the over, just start chipping away, baby. We're at 225, but we do not have all the time in the world. So if you are looking for the first time ever to make a super chat, or you want to put your kahunas in a wheelbarrow, today is the day to do it. Let's beat the Steelers, and let's go live for the NFL draft next week. We got a $50 super chat promise from Nick Roloff to do a shot fun race, and a $100 super chat promise from Tom Downey of the Cowboys Report to do a beer bong race. So we got some fun incentives hanging out in front of us here. Let's grab them and let's take the bulls by the horn. Take the horn by the bulls? Take the bulls by the horn. I got it right the first time. This is the super chat menu. We're going to run through the latest hashtag Browns questions we've got. If we've got no more, well, then we got to sign off. But AFX Apocalypse. Lil Beam, I would love to do a live draft party. We got to beat the Steelers in super chats right now. And at this moment, We are on the outside looking in. There is no other way to put it. Question coming in from CX. What do you think the record will be? I think they're going to be an 11 to 12 win team. I really do think that. 11-6, 12-5, 12-5. AFC is tough. The AFC North is not a cakewalk. Like, as much as we're shit talking the Steelers here, they're not easy outs. So, if you're able to go 4-2 in the division, right? Hopefully win all 3 home games and you drop 2 road games, 4-2, even 3-3. That gives you 3 losses. You're looking to go 11-6, 3 losses elsewhere in the schedule. That feels very much in the reach for Cleveland. Their roster is simply too talented not to win 11 games. Too much financial and draft capital investment in this roster to do anything worse than 10-7. Even 9-8, I'll be pissed off. Flat out. Unless a bunch of injuries happen, they have to be better than that. Mac Predalist. Mac's always a big-time super chatter. Are you going to the Browns? Are you going to the Browns cruise they have set up for next year? I plan on going. I am not going on the Browns cruise, but now I think I have to go if I want to hang out with Mac. So I got to find out about this Browns cruise and get more details on this because this is the first I'm hearing of it. And yeah, I'm definitely interested in a Browns cruise. $10 super chat from Chris. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go Brownies, baby. Chris, can't wait for this season to start, watching the game on mute and listening to you, making it even more fun. Chris, that is one of the greatest super chats we have ever gotten in this channel's history. Thank you. I think the perfect way to take a Browns game in, have it on TV, because who doesn't want to watch the game? I'll never advertise not to watch it. And have me on your phone, your tablet, your computer on the side. Mute the TV, or better yet, I think you could have me on like a 15, 20-second delay. So when big plays happen, you get to relive it twice. That is the best way to take in Cleveland Browns football, in my opinion. Chris, thank you for the super chat. $50 super chat. Let's go. Shot fun races. That's what I'm talking about. Lawrence digging in deep with the $50 super chat. Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Woof, woof. Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Woof, woof. Lawrence dropping their nuts in a wheelbarrow for a $50 super chat. First time ever. That's a letter. That's a shot fun race. Let's go, Browns. F Pitt. F the Steelers. Come on, Dog Pound. Bingo. Let's go. Lawrence from deep. Bang. $50 super chat. And with that, we have narrowed the deficit. A ways to go. No hiding behind that wall. No hiding behind that number. But man, oh man, if some people watching right now want to see a comeback almost as good as 3-1 from the Cavs to the Warriors, this would be it. So dig deep. Come on, Dog Pound. Could you slack Rolly, please, to bring the required utensils for a $50 shot fun race because of Lawrence first-time super chatter? Hit me up on Twitter at Matthew Petey. I will shoot you a letter for your first-time super chat today. That offer goes for all first-time super chatters. So, hey, if you are looking to get a handwritten note and find a nice little, present in your mailbox, this is the way to do it. Now, by the time Rolly and I finish this super chat, this super fun race, if we don't get any more super chats, we will have to get on out of here because I'm getting the side eye from my boss right now. But this is the super chat menu today. $100. We get to do a Browns beer bong race with Tom Downey from the Dallas Cowboys Report. So I've always said if the Browns roster was the Cowboys, how different the national media would talk about Dallas. If Dallas had Myles Garrett, Nick Chubb, Amari Cooper, Deshaun Watson, Denzel Ward, they would be foaming at the mouth. But it's because it's Cleveland. No one really takes them all that seriously. No one gives them the airtime. That's fine. Up to the Browns to prove them wrong. Up to the Browns to show them that they are way better than what they have been prescribed as. Yep. Hopefully, hey, by the way, I kind of should go without saying, like, this is not some sort of peer pressure to super chat. If you're able to and you want to have fun, by all means, feel free to knock yourself out. If not, no harm, no foul. Liking the video, commenting, all that stuff goes a long way as well to help boost the channel. Kelly Bale, once we get the shot fun from roll-off, we'll be good to go, but he's been taking his sweet time, I guess. At plus 400, how much of your hard-earned money would you risk on a Browns Super Bowl victory in 2023? I know that the Eagles, for what it's worth, were about plus 2,800 to going into the season last year. Plus 3,000-ish. So they got really close. Browns aren't going to be far. Like, perfect. Thank you. How much plus the shot, milk beer? I would say at plus 400, you put $10 down, you're winning 400. Seems like a worthy investment in my opinion. I like it. I like it. Soul Train. Players the Browns might draft that you don't like. Great question, Soul Train. Let me answer that question for you after this shot fun race, which was sponsored by Lawrence Fairclaw. A $50 super chat. First time super ever from Lawrence. I mean, Lawrence just came off the bench. Catch and shoot. Catch and shoot.
J.R. Smith.
J.R. Smith.
Coming off the bench in 2018.
Boom. Boom. Feed it to me again. Right? Shoot until you miss.
So you know the biggest issue here is that these are ice cold.
Oh, yeah. It's going to go right upstairs.
This is not going to be fun.
We have the trash can?
Right there.
Oh, can you get that for me, please? Okay, we ready for a shot fun race? If we don't get another super chat by the time we get through Soul Train super chat, then we will have to resign our live stream today. But you guys know I love hanging out with you every single Thursday. Chase Sr., everyone just loves to make their way over here.
Listen,
It's a great show, no doubt.
One great show, and two, we know we had a very important battle today, and I just wanted to come in after I got some stuff done to see how we were going. I know it's not going our way.
Team guy.
But listen, we're only 500 away. All it takes is one.
All it takes is one. Yeah, we're having fun right now. Okay. Yeah. Here we go. Let's cross streams. Cannonball coming.
Oh, into the throw.
I think I got a back cocking. Back cock. I don't think I punctured up top.
You know, that does happen.
It happens.
If you don't have a good cock, things will not go your way.
No, we got to restart. You got to restart from the beginning. So, Rolly, thank you so much for hopping on, offering up your services. Shout out to Lawrence for seizing the moment and the opportunity. Let's go Browns, baby.
If we get to, I'll double down here.
Oh,
We're at 287. If we get to 350 in total, I'll come on for another one.
was this just cleaned? Tastes like soap.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the cleaning efforts.
I gotta be honest. I think you'd rather those soapy tastes
Yeah,
than the gnarly smell.
I just made out with
When
Clorox.
you tip it back,
Yeah.
and get that smell, you're like, what am I signing up for?
Right, that's true. That is very, very true.
350, I'll come back for another one.
Let's throw Soul Train Super Chat on screen. We got another one from Soul Train. And if we don't get any more after these two, we'll have to sign off and get on out of here. But Soul Train with a $2 super. Players the Browns might draft that you don't like. Very good question because you don't see this question very often, right? Everyone always just jerks off every single draft prospect out there. Who is someone that I don't like for the Browns? Byron Young, this is going to sound bad, coming from Tennessee. He's a bit of a developmental pick. He kind of gives me Alex Wright vibes last year. The Browns are ready to win right now. Do they want to wait on a guy who's a bit older in his career to develop for a couple seasons? I don't think he's actually a good fit for what Cleveland wants to do in the next 2 seasons. So I'm going to pass on Byron Young for my own alma mater, Tennessee. As for, let's say, a linebacker, I kind of like a bunch of the linebackers. Is there any wide receivers that I'm not crazy about? I feel like there are, but they're all earlier in the draft. I mean, absolutely no Stetson Bennett, no matter what. That is just not an acceptable answer for us here. I'm going to go with Byron Young from Tennessee. I know that sounds weird coming out of my mouth, but I think that matters even more if it's coming from someone who watched him all spring last year, or all fall last year. That good player. I just think the Browns need to find players that are ready to step on and be productive in year one and not projects down the road, if you will. Soul Train with the next $2 super. What are the chances Jakeem Grant gets cut? There was some buzz from the coaching staff when they spoke to the media on Monday about Grant making good progress and hopeful that he can make this roster, but he's definitely on the bubble. He is a 30-plus-year-old return man coming off a torn Achilles. That's a tough road to come back from. If I'm giving it a percentage chance, it really comes down to the draft. I can answer this question a lot better after the draft. If they don't take a wide receiver, probably like 65% chance. If they do, closer to like 40% chance. So somewhere in that range from 40 to 60 at this present moment. Updated numbers here. We're going to put the timer on. If we don't get at least a $10 super chat, we will have to retire for today's show. You guys know I love hanging out with you no matter what. You know what? I won't even actually do a surrendering speech just yet. We're not gonna, what's the word? Like when you agree to, no, not like when you, like a politician's like, we're gonna withdraw at the end. You know, concede, I guess. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Uh-huh. Yep. Is there a draft gathering on Browns chat next week? Tim Green, I don't know if you're just tuning in, dude, but whoever wins this battle gets to host a Browns or Steelers draft watch party. Like, that is what we're at. Those are the stakes right now, which, like, I'm not going to call this a Mickey Mouse win for Steelers talk because it's very hard-earned, but it's funny that it didn't count last week when we won. But this week, when the Steelers put up 731, then they go and say, by the way, can this be what matters? Like, oh, just move the goalpost when it fits you well. So, a bit of a Mickey Mouse championship, but you know what? No big deal. Enjoy your, your shitty watch party. So, that is what we have going here. Tim, donate 500. I wish, my friend. Kelly, don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that. Lawrence, Javon Dexter, a beast. Okay, going back to that super from Soul Train about players I don't want the Browns to take. I just thought of one more. I'm not crazy about Siaki Ika from Baylor defensive tackle. I don't know. He regressed from 2021 to 2022. He's not a 3-down player, but he's going in round 2. There's not a ton of 3-down defensive tackles, but you get the gist of he is not someone who can play a high volume or percentage of snaps. I'm going to pass on Ika. I think he's just there because of his size. So there's a lot of large human beings and fast guys in the NFL draft. They're not all going to be great football players. So Ika and Byron Young are two players that I won't be ecstatic about if the Browns draft them. We're at 289. It has been a great, valiant effort from everyone who has contributed so far. Thank you guys so much. Mailbag. Do a mailbag, AFX Apocalypse says. I wish. Max saying, let's move the goalpost as well and measure all the super chats for the month. Believe me, I was not thrilled when they decided, like, after they put up 731, this is going to be the finish line. It was like, well, after a generational performance from your channel, kudos to you, no doubt about it. $10 super. Not fucking leaving. Show goes on. $10 super. Chipping away at it, baby. We got one from XX Epic Jet XX. We'll get myself on screen as we read this super chat out loud for everyone. Hey, Petey. Keep up the good work. I missed most of the live show. When Nick Chubb's career is over in Cleveland, where will he rank all time of Cleveland running backs? I believe right now Nick Chubb is 4th. Someone fact check me in the chat, please. I think he's 4th in all-time rushing yards for the Browns. So I think recency bias is going to balloon him up to 2nd, as he probably should be, behind Jim Brown. So that is roughly where I'm going to take a stab at. It'll be interesting to see. The possibility of this being Nick Chubb's last season in Cleveland is not 0. There is a big cap hit he has next season. So I could see if he has a bit of a down year, the Browns looking to save some money at a running back position where we know, like, running backs, you love them, and then so quickly you can unfortunately fall out of love with them. Talk to Cowboys fans about Zeke, right? Or Vikings fans about Dalvin Cook. It seems unfathomable until that one season happens where you're like, wow, you look a bit slower. I hope that's not the case for Nick Chubb, but to answer your question, I think he's going to be 2nd, really no matter what, behind Jim Brown. Unfortunately, he'll never pass Jim Brown in rushing yards. He just won't get the runway to do it. But $10 super chat, that's a dog bowl. Thank you, Epic Jet. Appreciate your kind words. $2 super chat from the Soul Train. Here we go. Soul Train, what's going on? You should get day 2 of the draft for last week's win. That's a very good point. I just said how funny it was that when we won last week, that didn't matter. But this week, when you guys put up, albeit Jeremy just walked in the room, by the way, everyone, a generational performance, then you decide.
That's not even our top performance.
It's one of your generational performances. So then you decide, well, after we did all that, can we make the rules now? Like, oh, very convenient for you. So, Soul Train, I will pitch that to my boss. I will hope that can get through. I could not agree more. Jeremy Chugs has the floor.
That's a lot of bark and no bite from the dog pound. That's all I'm saying. A lot of and not a lot of bite.
Okay.
And you know it seems like it's a theme with Cleveland sports,
Oh, this
especially the
keeps going.
Browns. You know, a lot of flash, a lot of off-season moves, a lot of hope. You know, and then when the rubber meets the road, you know, iron sharpens iron. You know, when it comes down to it, it just kind of falls like flat. So I'm not saying it's a Cleveland thing. I'm not saying it's a Browns thing. But I'm just saying I'm also not surprised.
You done? Okay, great. I know the Steelers are going to be the worst team in the AFC North next year. I know the Penguins just missed the postseason for the first time in 16 years. And poor Pirates fans had one good player to watch, and he's out for the next, 4 to 6 weeks, if not longer. So, yeah, not too concerned with the direction Cleveland sports is heading, with the Cavs, the number 4 seed in the East. The Guardians probably going to win the Central for back-to-back seasons. And the Browns are going to finish ahead of the Steelers next year. I can guarantee you that. Let's go Browns, baby. Let's go Brownies. That's what I'm talking about here. Caleb, we know you're a closet Browns fan. It's okay. You're hanging out with us all day. You like us more than Steelers talking Jack Sperry. It's fine. The water's just right. Get on in, Caleb. Come on. Let's go Browns. Lil Beam will throw this question up, #Browns. And if we don't get another one, this will be another super chat, that is. This will be our last question of the live show. So, Lil Beam, here we go. Once Matthew McCullough finds it. If we get Marquise Goodwin, he could be our kick/punt returner. Then release Jakeem Grant. Agree? Marquise Goodwin's not a return man. I mean, I don't have a full biography on his career, but that has not been his pedigree. So I don't think that was the strategy behind that. I do want to add this, and this can be a fun note to end on. $2 super chat from Miguel. Appreciate you, Miguel. Keith comes back for a 5-piecer. Oh, boy. Keith is talking big game right now. I love it, Keith. Let's throw Miguel's super chat on screen. F-Pit right now, Miguel. F-Pit everyone in the chat. One more lap of F-Pits, please, and thank yous. Keith Niergarter, get over 500, and I will make up the difference for a victory. Okay. This is the challenge. The finish line is actually in sight right now. If we're going to go by Keith's word, and Keith has been 100% He's batting 100 right now on standing by his word. If we can get from 308 to 500, what is that? $492 away. The extra 232 is waiting in a vault. That's called Keith Niergarter. I butchered that line, but you get the gist here. We can actually see the light for a moment. We just got the onside kick we needed right now. That's what that was right there. Can we get to 500? We got the onside kick. Now we got to score. And then the 2-point conversion to win it all is in our grasp. So, Keith, you are the man. You are a legend. You're my new best fucking friend. Let's go, Keith. Let's go, Browns. Come on, dog pound. Beat the Steelers and steal victory from the jaws of defeat at the last moment. Oh, boy. Come on. Yeah, an escrow account. This is something that the Ravens could never do because those poor bitches can't even afford Lamar Jackson. Man, oh man. With that being said, a quick actual Browns football talk here for a second because that last question kind of got my wheels turning on the special teams here. So it was about Marquise Goodwin. When people are going to look at the Browns offseason, all they're going to look at is the free agency, the draft, and the trade. And that's normal, and as it should be. But one thing that's kind of getting forgotten about for a moment is the upgrades they made in the coaching staff. They added Jim Schwartz, my top defensive coordinator target. They added Bubba Ventrone, a Browns legend. They got better at two key coordinating roles from Mike Prefer and Joe Woods. The coaching got so much better this offseason as well. Not just the talent as well. So don't let that get forgotten as well for the third time. The Browns made a lot of big improvements, not just in the roster, but also in the front office and the coaching staff as well. Chris with a $10 super chat. This is giving me traits of 1980, Lake Placid, New York, Miracle on Ice, the Miracle on YouTube. Christopher, how much better will special teams be this year? We need another Cribs. This is actually great timing as we just talked about it. Bubba Ventrone is going to come in and get this positioning in line. He's got to get Cade York down from home. I don't know what goes into to coaching kickers. That's its own separate entity. But he has to make Cade York a better kicker at home. And as for the return responsibilities, outside of DPJ's punt return against the Texans, a couple Jerome Ford kickoff returns, there was no spark in the special teams unit. You did block some Justin Tucker kicks, so it wasn't last in the league, but there's a lot of room for growth. So with Bubba Ventrone, if you can find a new return man, it doesn't have to be 2023 necessarily, and I know we're all in on just this one season, but I like the direction that this coaching staff is headed. Bubba Ventrone and the Colts were one of the best special teams units in the entire National Football League. That's not so much about the talent you have to work with. That's a lot of coaching. That's what special teams comes down to. Coaching and effort. You don't draft guys in the first round for special teams, right? That is not the DNA and the bread and butter of great special teams units. So I'm a huge fan of Bubba Ventrone and the hire the Browns made and the direction this staff is headed and the special teams unit along with it. So after Chris's $10 super chat, we are getting a bit closer. If we can get to 500, we're going to see, hopefully, the biggest super chat in Cleveland Browns report history from Keith Niergarter to get us across 731. If you have never super chatted before, ladies and gentlemen, now is the time. Help us beat Steelers talk so we can go live for the NFL draft and not have the crummy Steelers fans enjoy a live show with Jack Sperry. Let's beat the Steelers. I don't know what other language I have to say it in. I did not learn that in high school French. I didn't take Spanish, but fill in the blank for me and beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Kelly Bale, who has been a big-time contributor today. With the emergence of our Baltimore and Cincinnati rivalries over the past 10 years, are the Steelers public enemy number one? It is definitely a question. Like the AFC North, is one of my favorite divisions in football, if not the favorite, because every team hates each other. That's not the same in, like, I don't know, the NFC South, for example, right? The Panthers don't care about the Bucs. But you know what? With the Ravens and Bengals coming along, I still think Pittsburgh's number one, but arguments can be made based on where you live or how old you are. Older generation, they're going to hate the Ravens, and it makes sense. But my sort of age group and demographic, like, it is F Pitt all the way. Mitchell Renz from the Raiders Report joining us here. Looks like every super chat moving forward, okay? Next 5 minutes. Every single one. Woo! $50 super chat! Let's go, Browns! Wow! And just like that, beat the Steelers and do a boot. If we get to 500, that's going to be the boot. Because if we get to 500, I know Shay, what she just did right there was she just crowdsourced from every single college friend of ours and pooled all of our money together. So shout out to the lovely Shay Spinda. We had someone say if we get to 500, they'll make up the difference. That is the goal. 500 is the 731.
If we get to 500, I'll do a boot.
So 2 boots if we get to 500. I'll do one. We just got a 20. We're chipping away, baby. Oh, shit. Keith's only got 4 minutes now. Okay. We are $110 away. Here's the issue. This is like a Mr. Beast show right now. Throw Keith's up on for a moment, please. We'll get to Wills in just a second. But let's throw Keith's up. Hurry up. I only have 4 minutes. We have 4 minutes to get to $500. We're 110 away. Dig deep. Let's get to 500, and then you're going to see some magic on this channel. This is the time to start throwing in some $2, $5, $20 pieces and start chipping away and get us there. Do it for Keith, baby. Come on. I'm just staring at the YouTube studio right now, waiting to see some magic come through. 500, and we're doing a boot. At the very least, we got a Dirty Dog Bowl coming your way for the $50 super chat from Shaylin Spinda. Woo-hoo-hoo. I feel like it's just waiting to burst right now. We're just watching a volcano. This is a science project, basically. Who brought the baking powder? Come on, show the scoreboard. We're going to update the scoreboard right now for everyone watching. Will Hensley with a $20 super chat to get us to $390 after Shay's 50-piecer. We're 110 away from Keith putting up $10. There it is. We're getting there. We're getting there. We got a 5-1 from Kelly Bale. F it all my cash. Thanks, Keith. Love you, bro. Shout out to Keith right now. He's going to be the difference maker in this. Can we get there? Oh, man, this feels like a daunting task. Dog pound. This is the time to come alive, baby. Oh! 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 We're $2 away! Oh! Get the boots! $100 super chat! Keith, I'm counting on you. I'm counting on you, Keith. Let's go, Browns! Let's go, Browns! Let's go, Browns! A $10 from Chris. Oh, boy. Keith, we are at 508.72. If you can push us over the edge, I don't know what we'll have to do other than rename the Cleveland Browns the Cleveland Keiths. A $2 from Kelly again. Let's go, Browns from Ronnie. But $100 super chat. Ronnie the best. Let's go, Browns. But Brez Boy, $100 super chat. Now, Keith, can you push us over the edge? We're going to update the scoreboard. It's not over yet. This is going to be an all-time comeback if Keith comes through. Brez Boy, $100 super chat to get us within striking distance. We're at 520, 211 away. Keith, I don't know what my heart will do, but it might explode if I see a big super come through. We got it all coming our way. Jeremy Chugs is talking shit right now. This is it. This could be it. Keith, the world is watching.
No way in hell is the Browns report beating Steelers talk today.
I don't know.
I'm telling you right
if
now.
Keith comes through.
The king of the North, Steelers will always be your daddy, and that's never going to change.
Everyone's chanting Keith right now.
Steelers are always going to be the top.
Keith.
Don't you forget
Keith.
it. Steelers, here we go, Steelers, here we go.
Come on, Keith. The world is watching. He said he had 4 minutes. I think we got it within those 4 minutes. Right? What did Keith say he's going to do? Keith said if we got to 500, he would match the difference to 731. And we crossed 500. So now we're waiting. After the $100 super chat, some little pieces falling into place. Keith. Come on, Keith. This is it. We had some other super chats. Let's run through them really quickly while we await Keith. Oh boy, 420 boots. That is fitting. Well, the green screen does not help. Yeah, it's all see-through here. But it's actually green. It's like beer. It's like green beer, if you will.
All right, I'll be honest. It was a good idea in theory.
And now that's practicing.
And now
Now the suits seem kind of fucked up.
dude,
I mean,
so here's the proof that it's a green light.
it's a green screen.
I know.
The camera just goes, oh! He did it! Yo, Keith! Yes! Keith! Yes! Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
We are
Keith!
away.
Keith, we are $12 away. No, we're not even 12. We are $8 away. Who's gonna do it? Oh, come on, Keith. Come on. Who's gonna push us across? We're almost there. The Browns are gonna go to the Super Bowl. Come on. A miracle in the works. Who wants to score the winning touchdown in overtime? We did it! The Browns! Let's go, Browns! Yes! Do you believe in miracles? The show goes on! Live for the NFL draft! Suck it, Steelers! We're all racing. I didn't think this all stacked up at once. I think we'll do that one first. Keith, everyone, just before you go to bed tonight, just think of Keith. A comeback for the ages. Oh my goodness. Man, we'll talk about this as long as it is recorded. 1 second. I've got a bad nozzle. Cannonball.
3, 2, 1, go. Just go. Nice.
We did it. I got a boot. I know. Everyone that super chatted, like the video, commented, or is just watching and enjoying this through us. Thank you all. Let's go Browns. Whew. The beauty is, you guys ready for this? I walked to work today in preparation for the dog pound. No keys in my pocket. I just got my wallet.
No keys.
We've got some more super chats. The updated numbers. Steelers talk.
Very nice.
Takes the L like normal. Let's go. Let's run through the supers while I catch my breath, and then we're going to do a beer boot. So, Keith, this cannot go unstated enough. You are the man. Hang on. Mobile does not let me enter exact amount. Doesn't matter, Keith. You got the puck to the blue line. It got pushed across the goal line. That's what we needed from Keith. You're the man. Kelly Bale from north of the border sending supplies down south. Let's go, Kelly. Soul Train. Let's fucking go. And then Chris, Browns rule. Let's go, Browns. And XX Epic Jet, F Pit, and let's go. And then some blood coming through with a lemon character, a nice emoji. Bingo! And Miguel with a $10 just for the empty netter. That's what that was. To pour salt in the wound from Miguel, who got it started today. But Keith put the alley-oop down. And the Super Chat battle is once again a victory for the Cleveland Browns Report. Thank you all. And as we ride off into the sunset, we have some green beer to drink.
So it's 36 ounces.
It's a lot of liquid.
It's 3 beers, 3 Happy Dads. So I started drinking earlier today. I did Happy Dads, and the thought process was right. It's green, so it's gonna look literally crystal clear. I figured it'd be kind of cool to do a 420.
It was cool until this wall was green.
Yeah,
And then it backfired on us.
filled it up out there. Should have thought about it clearly through. So this is your show.
This is Cannonball time. The only goal I have is to beat Jack Sperry's performance from yesterday. And that's not going to be hard to do. So with that being said, I'm going to raise the propeller and say, Cannonball, Cannonball coming. Update. It's a lot. I'm going back in for more. Update number 2. The bunk beds were a horrible idea. Or the bunk boots. It just got green dye in it. We got it for St. Patrick's Day. And Mitch here, he's like a holiday wizard. He's the guy, by the way. You want to know Mitch is in the office? He knows every single day, like, you know today's National Funnel Fries Day. That is Mitch. And so, let's get back in the saddle. Oh, it just got mad at me. Okay.
I saw somebody say belly shot.
Absolutely not.
I'll let PD take a belly shot off me if we stick with that. That's the deal.
Yeah, we got a ways to go for that one.
250 and we're there for a belly shot. On Raiders, it's 500. So that's a 50% off deal. We can celebrate.
I thought I almost had hit the return button for a second. Could we go through the chronological order of Brez Boy, who threw up the alley-oop, right? It's up in the air, and Keith put it down. Brez Boy with the $100 super chat. And then put my Twitter at the bottom, please, McCullough. Okay, I've got a little bit. I don't. It's kind of tough for you guys to see, but you can. It looks like river water, but it's like very bright green in the studio. Okay, yeah. If you want to unmute yourself and just give some verbal shout-outs to that run we had after Bresboy, please. Everyone get to know the wonderful voice of Mr. Matthew McCullough.
What's going on, y'all?
I feel like I've
Appreciate
got
y'all with the supers.
I've got a
Crazy.
burp coming up.
I'll be careful. Appreciate y'all for donating a fuck ton of money to us and whooping the Steelers Talk ass and letting everybody know why Steelers Talk is inferior to the Browns Report. Appreciate y'all. We got Bresboy starting off, and then we went to Christopher with a $10, and then we got Ronnie coming in clutch, and then we went to above the border, or I should say over the border to Kelly Bale, and then Chugs' Ugly Mug came in and gave us a $2. Miguel,
I've got like this much left,
you're almost there,
but it's
Petey.
like the toughest part.
It's the worst part. And then we had, Miguel come in, and then of course Keith with the super clutch $200 super, wild. Appreciate you. Kelly Bale again across the border, another $8 Canadian. Soul Train with a quick little $2 to bump us up more. Another $10 from Christopher Stofira. Browns rule, that's facts. Steelers suck.
It's done.
Nice.
It's over.
Let's go. And then we got Epic Jet, F Pit, and let's go.
Victory is ours.
Victory is ours, Petey.
I mean, Johnny Drama. Victory!
And then Charlotte with a $5, and then last but not least, Miguel with a $10 again. You want the total
AFX
now?
Apocalypse is right. Shay sent a $50 super chat in.
Oh yeah, I can show hers.
She is the best.
Where is
She's going to be right before the 100.
Shay Spindle?
Beat the
There you go.
Steelers into a boot. Shaylin Spinda looking lovely as always in that picture. I won't be horny on YouTube, but thank you, Shay. Let's go, Browns.
Here's the updated numbers of us beating the Steelers.
Oh, Shay's 50. I mean, if we're making a drive here, that $50 super chat was honestly a 3rd and 11 conversion, right? Watson drops back 3rd and long, 2-minute drill, finds Cooper at the sideline. Okay, now we're up and moving. We're at our own 35. And then on 4th and 19, it looks like we're done. $100 super chat from Bizboy. I pronounced that correctly? And that gets us into the red zone. And once we're there, you just hand it off to Nick Chubb enough times, and Keith is going to get you across the promised land. Shout out to everyone that took part in this historic Cleveland Browns report. And I can't wait to see everyone live for the NFL draft. Let's go, Browns. We will sign off as we end on a high note. This has been one hell of a show. Everyone watching right now, pat yourself on the back and remind yourself that the Cleveland Browns run the AFC North starting now.